Everyone, happy Labor Day. Hope everyone is enjoying your day off. Hopefully you have a day off. I worked today a short day, which translates to like 9.5 hours. But anyway, luckily I love what I do, so I don't mind being here too much. That having been said, it's about 5 o'clock and I'm going to go home, which is a couple hours earlier than usual, and fire up the grill and at least grill up some dogs and do some kind of Labor Day stuff like that. But anyway, so spent most of the day here, and as you saw in the thumbnail and you see with me standing here pointing the camera at it, the super awesome Van Halen bug is back for a couple things. The VWHALEN, there it is. Yeah, so I'll come back to this one. So let me go in chronological order here. So started the day out on this beauty, the other red bug here, and got a number of small but important things to do done. So one of which is I went ahead and assembled the air cleaner finally. So we had the top and the bottom powder coated previously, had all the hardware and stuff zinc plated. So yeah, I went ahead and just assembled it. It's not that big of a deal. Just putting these clips together. They use actually a little cotter pin bent in there to hold them together. And then these have a little plastic hinge that you snap onto the rod on this thing, and then you shove that whole assembly up into the snout here. So yeah, it's not a big deal to put it together, but it's just, you know, again, one of those things. We do have the correct sticker for it that goes about right there that talks about changing the oil in there and stuff like that. So that'll go on here at some point in the not too distant future. So let's see. So I did that, and I dug out and cleaned up his, get my flashlight out of my pocket here, the tubes for the heater, so you can see that accordion looking deal right there. So clean those all up and install them. So again, little things, but all important nonetheless. So did those. I went and I checked all the brake connections, made sure they were all tight, checked the adjustment on the rear drums, and I had adjusted them before, but just double checking, and then I went ahead and torqued down the axle nuts and put cotter pins in them. Again, we don't put cotter pins on these until they're properly torqued down, and everything inside the brake, we're happy with it. So to us and to pretty much anyone, a cotter pin means it's been torqued down. I don't know what the guy who put that car together initially was thinking, putting cotter pins on finger tight axle nuts, but that's entirely another story. So let's see, what else did I do here? Got some things written down here. Likewise adjusted his front axle bearings, which I had already adjusted, but I just kind of double checked them and then put on the caps here. His speedo cable had kind of a weird issue, and I'm not necessarily going to pull this apart and show you, but when you would tighten the nut here, this knurled nut, where the speedometer cable goes into the speedometer. So what I did was, before I connected before I actually put on this dust cap and the end of the speedo cable just hanging out, I just made sure it was free by trying to turn it with my finger. It should turn with very little resistance, and it actually wouldn't turn at all. And so the first thing I checked was I unscrewed the speedometer cable from this end, from the speedometer end. And as soon as I unscrewed it and pulled it out and then came back to this end, I could turn the end of that thing very easily. So that told me it was something on this end here. And so what it was that, I don't know if it's the cable. I mean, this is a stock speedometer. It's not like some weird aftermarket thing or something. Cable is from Wolfsburg West. But basically when you would tighten the nut down, it was essentially like jamming. There's like a little square end of the actual cable here that goes in and drives the speedometer. So the speedometer itself has like I don't know, like a little shaft with a square female hole on it, and then the end of the cable has like a male square shaft that goes in there, and then that's what turns it. But pretty much what was happening was that the shaft was like bottoming out in the little shaft that receives it here. And so when you tighten this down, it would just like jam up the whole assembly. And so once I figured that out, I made like a little spacer out of basically like a piece of wire, bent it into a circle, kind of like a washer, but more like a ring. And just to space this thing out a little bit, and then double checked it, boom, works great. So just something to keep an eye out for. Again, this is brand new speedometer cable. It's a factory speedometer. You'd think everything would work, but just something that maybe to keep in mind is when you're putting a new cable on, test that the cable moves freely when it's connected on the speedometer side by turning it by hand on this side before you actually have it, so it's captured into the bearing cap there. And if you have the same situation I did, then you just got to create some kind of spacer so that it's not forcing it in there as tight and binding. I don't know. I hope that all makes sense. But if anyone sees that, then they'll hopefully remember this and know that it's an easy fix. So yeah, just little things like that end up kind of being a little time consuming by the time you troubleshoot it and then figure out how to remedy it and stuff like that, but not a big deal. The other thing was that I put a little bit more wiring here. I put the fuse holder that I think I mentioned this yesterday. So a fuse holder here. So this gets power from the positive side of the coil, goes through this little fuse holder, and then from there it goes up to the reverse switch on towards the front end of the transmission. And so wired that in today. Did some wire routing in here a little bit, cleaned that up, and I think that was mostly it here on this one. Yeah, so that brings us to this one. So he had been, when he took the car, which was a few months ago, he had been planning on, or I asked him actually to bring it back in a few months, which is now-ish, for like an oil change and tune-up and stuff like that. So he had planned to bring it in anyway. But what really he brought it in for, or what happened was that his impy front suspension pretty much just like collapsed on him. And so you can see the height that it's sitting now. I adjusted it up some already. This is about how the car left here, you know, a couple inches of space here. When he brought the car in, the fender was like down here. And so, I don't know if you'll be able to see this from here, but basically the way these beams work is, you can actually see that pretty well. So on the beam itself, there's this this piece that you see here, which is welded on, and it has teeth in it. And then there's a matching piece here. You can see the silver piece that has mating teeth on it. And then it's got a nut and a jam nut. And so this, when you rotate this, it basically rotates the leaf springs that are in here, and that controls the height of the front end. While these teeth on these impy beams are pretty wimpy, considering that they're like holding the whole weight of the car. And so basically, so there's one on the bottom tube, and then yeah, you can see one on the top tube. So basically what happened is, despite, you know, all this stuff being tight, they both just like skipped many teeth. Like I think actually this one was bottomed out all the way. In other words, this thing rotated all the way back that way. And then this one went like part of the way back. And so, yeah, he was driving the car and he was just a couple minutes from home and he heard like a snap sound. And pretty much at that point, that's when these things both just like slipped all at once and lowered his car like in an instant. And he didn't really know what happened and stuff. I said, hey, you know what? Don't drive the car. Just when you're able, have it towed over to the shop. And as soon as I saw the car on the flatbed, I knew what happened, because I know that the car looked about like this when it left the shop. And now all of a sudden it comes in a flatbed and the fender is like down here. I mean, literally lowered the car like, I don't know, God, what is that even, like 1, 2, 3 inches or so, maybe more. So, impy, come on guys, you can do better. Make those teeth bigger, make them more pronounced. They're very crappy looking teeth. So I have a couple ideas. One is to pull those little the little silver plates off and take like a file or something and kind of make the teeth on them a little nicer, and then maybe do the same up underneath there on the beam, like make the teeth a little bit more pronounced. That just sounds like an enormous pain in the ass. I mean, I don't mind things that are hard, but like really getting in there, like filing those teeth, especially with the beam on the car, I'm just not sure about that. The other thing is, you know, he's not really going to be wanting to raise and lower his front end. It's like we're setting it at a height that he's happy with, that I'm happy with, and it's going to stay there. So what I may do is I may, you know, make sure the adjustment is where we like it, and then I may get under there and put a couple tack welds on each of those adjusters, and then it's not going anywhere. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm going to kind of sleep on that one a little bit and see what we can do to prevent that from happening again. I may try and talk to somebody impy too, because it's kind of ridiculous. I've actually heard of that happening on their beams before. So it wasn't terribly surprising. And when you look at the teeth, when you can like really see them with the beam off the car, they're pretty wimpy looking. They're just, again, holding like the whole weight of the front of the car. You'd think they would be much more pronounced teeth that would really lock more positively into each other. They're just not that great looking. So anyway, so I got to fix that. And then the other thing, again, impy, thank you, is the one-piece window. These felt channels are just like coming apart. And so I don't know. I guess the problem is that the good felt channels sold by like Wolfsburg West and stuff, they don't make it for one-piece windows. So the ones they make, you know, start down here just like these, go up over, and then they stop right here, because that's where normally your vent wing sort of takes over from there. The ones for split window Beetles are completely different, and they actually start from here and go that way, and then there's another one that goes here. So split window ones are completely different, even though they're a one-piece window. Zwitter and up are too short because, again, they only go to here. So I may try and go to a local hot rod place that has a lot of this kind of stuff, and see if they have something the same kind of size and shape. Otherwise, I guess I will get the impy replacement ones again, and I don't know, I guess like hope that they hold up a little better. I don't know, not super happy about it. But yeah, so anyway, he's asking me to do something with that. Of course, doing the tune-up, which again we had planned all along that the car would come in around this time. So already changed his oil today, or drained it at least, and changed out his sump plate gaskets and stuff. Sump plate looked great. It was very clean. Took off his spin-on oil filter that's on the adapter on the oil pump there. The oil didn't look too bad. Adjusted his valves. They were all very close to being spot on. This car has chromoly push rods, so you set those at what's called loose 0, which means no gap, but loose enough that you can spin the push rods kind of with your fingertips. So those things are done. Let's see, what else did he want to do? I think he said that his windshield wipers were maybe a little loose or something. Need to check those out. I don't know. He sent me a list. It's all pretty minor stuff. The most major thing is these stupid window felts, and then this also stupid front beam here that lowered itself while he was driving. Again, thank you, Impy, and thank you, Impy. So, yeah, well, anyway, we'll take care of it. We'll get him back on the road, get the VWHALEN back to him better than ever. And, yeah, but it's nice to have the car back in the shop because it looks super good in here. Of course, we always like having good-looking cars in our shop, and usually we're lucky enough to have that be true. So that is actually it for today, guys. So thank you guys for watching. Again, hope everyone's Labor Day weekend is going well, and we'll see you all again tomorrow. Bye.